I've always wondered what a revenge movie would look like if we didn't get to see any of the revenge. Thanks, Peppermint. Peppermint is a so-called revenge film where Jennifer Garner plays a mother with a family, with a husband and a young daughter, and one day on her daughter's birthday, there's a drive-by shooting, her family is killed, and she's gravely injured, but she survives. Because there's not enough evidence to convict the felons, there's really no trial, and they get to walk off, and she's mad, thinks everything's corrupt, thinks the law has failed her, and goes full vigilante. Honestly, that's probably the plot of many revenge movies, and it sounds like it's a revenge movie, except the execution is all wrong. I only had the slightest of hope that maybe this movie could be entertaining because it's a revenge film. It's Jennifer Garner getting back into action, which she did Elektra, she was in Alias, and so she can be an action star. So I was hoping this could be good, especially given that it's the director that made Taken. But this was horrible. Just to give you some hint of just how bad I thought this movie was, it's in my top 12 worst films of the year so far. And you're probably thinking I haven't seen that many movies, especially since I actually haven't reviewed all the movies that I have seen. But on my list of best to worst, I have over 101 movies on that list. Peppermint is the 12th worst. It's even below Sherlock Gnomes. That's fucking scary. But there must have been something that I liked about Peppermint because, after all, the audience section of Rotten Tomatoes and all the tens that it's getting on IMDb from reviewers and just random audience members, it must be a fun popcorn action movie, right? It fails on so many levels, though. Granted, there are a few things that I did like, so I'll talk about the things that I liked first and then get into the whole lot of bad. Now, I didn't think any actor or actress in this movie was particularly bad. I would say a lot of the performances are just sort of bland and just unnoticeable, but three of the major characters did an okay job. First off, Jennifer Garner as our main character, as Riley North. I actually liked her performance. I didn't care much about her character at all, but I liked Jennifer Garner's performance. They didn't really give her a lot to do in this movie, other than just go around shooting people. To be honest, there's only 3 modes that she's in throughout this entire movie, and she just switches between these 3 modes, which is perfect, loving mother, which is the beginning of the film, of course, just perfect mother, just loving and will do anything for her daughter. Okay, that's okay. She's fine. And then through the rest of the movie after the event, she goes back and forth between really sad mom and tragic mom, just mourning for her daughter, and badass, unfeeling psychopath that just kills everyone she sees. So she pretty much just has 3 modes in this movie, but I will say, all 3 of those modes, she's a fine actress and did good in all 3 of those aspects of her character. And to be honest, I thought she did the action well, or I imagine she did the action. It might have been a stunt double, I don't know, but she works as an action hero, I feel. I want to see more action with her. Just not in this frickin' film. The other 2 performances that I liked, and again, hated the characters, liked the performances. There's a difference. John Gallagher Jr. and John Ortiz, they play the two cops in this movie. And they're partners, and they're the ones investigating Riley North and the cartel in the area and all that kind of stuff. God, they have to be good in order to work with some of the dialogue that they have in this movie. I'll get into that later, but keeping a straight face and trying to deliver that dialogue had to have been brutal. They give them the worst dialogue in this movie. But they hang in there. So I'll give some respect to those two. So I think those three performances are good. Everyone else is just, passable. Nothing terrible, just whatever. The other aspect of the film I like is the action. And you're probably thinking, well, it can't be one of the worst films of the year if you actually like the action in an action movie. I have mixed feelings with the action. There's some important detail that keeps this action from being great, and I'll talk about that in the bad, but as far as the choreography goes, as far as the way the movie films the action and edits the action, I think it was a spot-on fine job. In a better action movie, this action would be decent and pretty darn good. I've seen far worse action movies out there. I mean, worse action sequences than Peppermint. Peppermint has some good action sequences. For many people, it's going to be one of those badass, popcorn-eating action sequences throughout the movie, and if you're going into a movie just wanting to see its badassery, you're probably going to be entertained with this film, because there is a lot of badass moments. And that's all the good that I have to say about this movie. Action and three performances that are okay. But there is seriously so much wrong with this film. As I mentioned in my intro, Peppermint is a revenge film where we don't get to see any of the revenge happening. That's a major issue for a revenge film. If you fail on the revenge in a revenge film, don't you fail as a film? I mean, it's not that hard. There's only a few components that makes a revenge film adequate. You need to have a hero who loses something tragically, whether it's their family, whether it's an attempt on their life. They have to have some tragic scene that makes us care for the character. There needs to be people that have wronged the character in such a way that we want our character to kill those people in brutal fashion. You see, revenge films can be raw, very emotional, very just angry, like, yeah, kill those people that did you wrong, okay? If you don't have that element that connects you to the character, that emotion that connects you to the character in that way, then you could care less about who the character kills. This movie is missing that. That's why I have a mixed feeling with the action, because the action, we don't care about any of the people she kills, because they're not part of the people that, they're not any of the people that wronged her. Yes, they're part of the gang, and the people that wronged her were in the gang, but they're just minions. And you could say, well, plenty of revenge films have people killing minions. Yeah, there are plenty of films that do that, but usually it's done really stylistically, or they're only killing the minions to get to the person they want to kill. Like the minions are trying to protect the people that the hero wants to kill, and they just have to go through the minions to kill the person for their real target. This only does that once in an action scene. So let's break this down on who wronged her in this movie and how this movie goes about killing those people. Because like I said, it is missing the revenge. There are the three people responsible for the actual hit. 2 shooters, 1 driver. These are the 3 gang members that actually pulled the trigger. So those people definitely have to die on screen. Then we have a whole scene where the defense attorney is completely bribing her, saying, "You didn't see anything." Then he ultimately wins the case that causes them to not actually have a trial in the first place. So he needs to die brutally too. He's an extra that we can kill off in this revenge movie. Then, of course, you have the actual person that set out the hit. He has to die as well. 5 people that could easily be sprinkled out through the movie and be systematically killed easily. That's all you have to do. So how does this movie fail? Well, the first person that dies out of these 5 is one of the hitmen, one of the people that did the shooting. Or it was the driver. I don't know. I couldn't remember which one it was, but it was one of them. Dies at the very beginning of this film because it's an action movie where it's like we have to have an action hook, and so let's do this action thing and then do 5 years ago and then tell the tale, the tragic tale of her family dying. Okay, but we don't care about this person dying because we don't know any of the stakes, we don't know any of the motivations, we don't know why that Jennifer Garner is killing this person at the very beginning, unless you've seen the trailer and know that it's a revenge story. So you failed at that death, but hey, you still got 4 people. You still got 2 of the people that committed the crime. Do we get to see their deaths? Nope. Those other 2 people die off camera because once it goes back to present day after the tragic event, we just see 3 corpses hanging from a Ferris wheel. You see it in the trailer. They're the 3 people that did the actual hit. 2 of them die off screen, and 1 of them dies at the very beginning when you don't give a shit. So you failed already at 3 of the 5 kills. All you have left is 2 people, and we're already almost a third of the way through this movie. You got 2/3 of the movie still left, and you only got 2 people left. But at least there's the lawyer they can kill off, right? No, he dies off screen as well. Don't get to see him die. So through 2/3 of the movie, all we have left... Oh, not only that, you barely know he's dead anyway, because they just briefly mention, oh, you know that guy we paid off to be our defense attorney? Yeah, I heard that he's dead now. Thanks movie. You didn't show him die. So through the last 2/3 of the movie, all she needs to kill, the only one we all ultimately care about her killing, is the leader of the gang. And even then, it's just like, oh yeah, he laid out the hit, but he didn't actually pull the trigger, he's just... And not only that, he's a bland villain that we don't care about, so it's like, okay, whatever. I don't care about any of the people you kill now. I just want this movie to be over. So, in this revenge movie, there's only 5 people that we care about dying. 3 of them die off screen. 1 dies when we don't care about his death. And then the last one is at the very end of the film. This is one sucky revenge film. But there's a lot of good there's quite a few action sequences, so you're thinking, okay, who does she kill then in this revenge film? Well, after she kills the 3 hitmen off camera, the defense attorney off camera, and probably her own lawyers off camera as well, I'm not sure, because there's one moment, like, after all the killings happen, there's one brief moment where we're with the leader of the gang and someone pulls him aside and goes, yeah, those people we paid off, they're all dead now. This Riley North person is after us. Just one brief dialogue aside and all these people are apparently dead. But before that little talk that the villains have, there is one death that we get to see in very brutal fashion, And I thought I was losing my mind with this. The judge is brutally killed basically for doing his job. So the first real person that we see our hero massacre after the tragic event is a judge who may be corrupt, but for all the information we get in this movie, he looks pretty much innocent. And it feels like a mad woman, or a mad hero, mad vigilante, is killing someone just because the trial didn't go her way, and so that must mean the judge is corrupt. We get no evidence that he's corrupt in this film. And so this whole scene, it starts off with her nailing his hands to the chair. By the way, this is the only death in the movie that gets a gruesome death. Everyone else gets shot in this film pretty much, except for one person that she pushes like this huge heavy object off and it falls on his skull. And that's a random gang member, by the way. Everyone else is pretty much shot. So the only really brutal kill in this movie is pretty much, for all we know, an innocent judge who did nothing wrong. Because here's how the courtroom scene played out. We don't get to see all of the court stuff because this movie has to move fast and you just get what you need. And so all it is the defense attorney questioning her and basically questioning her if she's taken any drugs that may have made her to see things unclear. And so basically this case all relies on her eyewitness testimony. There is no evidence that these people committed the crime. It's all based on her testimony alone. And when it's just that, and our our defense attorney proves that maybe she wasn't in the right mind at the time because maybe she was on drugs or whatnot. And so there's not enough sufficient evidence, and so our judge is like, well, I don't see enough evidence. Enough evidence to have a trial, so case dismissed. And then, of course, our main hero, because she knows they killed them, even though she couldn't prove it, she gets upset, she gets mad, she gets crazy, and she jumps over the podium and runs after the killers. And, of course, she causes a ruckus. And so our judge is like, hey, bailiff, remove her. She's a little crazy. But automatically that means, oh, this judge must be corrupt in everyone else's eyes because, my God, I thought my cousin and I were the only sane people in this theater. Or just everyone in this theater was just bloodthirsty for a revenge film. Because as soon as that judge got his hands nailed into the chair, despite the fact that we see nothing that he's done wrong in this film, so he could be an innocent judge, all I heard in the audience was, yeah, kill that fucking judge. And I'm like, why? He didn't do anything. They never proved that he was corrupt. Why does she think he's corrupt? What is going on? Why is she... And I felt bad for the judge. I wanted him to escape in this movie. When you have a movie or a revenge film where you're supposed to root for the hero to kill someone who wronged her, and she's killing a person where you're thinking, oh my God, don't kill him, don't kill him. What the fuck are you doing? Don't kill him. Get out of there, man. Try to escape. And you rooting for the person that she's killing? You fucked up. So yeah, that's the first major kill that happens after the tragic moment. Now, if she had done this to the lawyer, like the defense attorney that sleazed his way out of the trial, yeah. If she was doing that to him, I would have no complaints. But she's doing it to the judge, who we don't have any proof that he's corrupt, until 3 scenes later or so, when the bad guys are talking, when he pulls over the leader and is like, hey, come here. You know that defense attorney we bought off? And I think he briefly mentions maybe he bought off the judge as well. Yeah, they're dead now. Why didn't we learn about that before she killed him? Then maybe we would have, it might not have looked like our hero was crazy and delusional and just thinking everyone is out to get her and everyone is corrupt just because the trial didn't go her way. Don't you think, as a moviegoer, that's information we should know beforehand, before we see this brutal kill of what seems like an innocent person being killed? I think that's information we need to know. But who else do we get to see her kill? There's a sequence where she goes into a piñata store, which is just a front for money laundering. And so she kills all the gang members in there. Okay. I don't care about this at all. Because it's one of those movies where it's like, I know, we'll have our hero get revenge on our main bad guy by ruining his business before killing him. No. Who cares about his business? Just kill him. And then you get another action sequence where she's killing the people that's bodyguarding our main bad guy at his house. And so that's kind of okay because she's taking out the minions to get to our bad guy. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that one. Just not the piñata sequence, because it's like, who gives a shit? That's what's missing in this action. The action is good. It's nice. But we don't care about any of the people that she's killing. And so it's just whatever. And maybe you're thinking I'm nitpicky. It's just a revenge film. It's just an action film. We're not supposed to care about these kind of things. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, it's just a B movie. It's just an action movie schlock. But it's told so seriously that it feels like, oh, they're trying to make a serious revenge film. They're just failing because they don't know what... They take away the revenge aspect of the film. And the funny thing is, all this could be solved very easily. There's 5 people we care about dying. Show those 5 people, and don't kill them all. Don't kill 4 of them in the first third of the movie. Sprinkle it so that have maybe out of those 3 hitmen in those 5 years, maybe one of them is the second in command now. So he's like the second to last person. And then the other 2 could be, maybe one is in the piñata sequence. Have them die there. And another one in another sequence. Or maybe have the first one to go. Sprinkle those throughout the movie so that we care about the action sequence, so we can want our hero to take revenge on someone in each action sequence. That's an easy way to solve it. And if you don't want to bother with that, there's one thing at the very beginning that could easily solve this. And it all has to do with the husband. So in this movie, there's a reason why the family gets killed. It's not just random chance. The problem is, our husband, a mechanic, has this friend that wants our mechanic husband to do a heist and steal from the cartel because it would be so easy and simple. Why? Why would you mess with people like that? It's not like the husband is given any backstory that he was once a criminal or something. No, he just looks like some normal mechanic that happens to have a friend that wants to steal from the cartel. But of course our husband is like, no, that's a dumb idea. I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, word gets out too fast, and so the cartel kill the friend and then kill the husband, and the daughter is killed in the crossfire, as well as our main character, Riley North, getting shot. And I can see that the filmmakers and the people making this movie and writing the script probably like, oh, this will make it a more personal feel to the revenge aspect. Yeah, so personal to the point where we only care about 5 people dying and you kill off 4 of them off screen practically. Here's a way to solve this. Forget all the heist stuff. Forget the friend. Just have the death be random gang violence. How about the drive-by wasn't meant for the family at all, but just so happened that there's a rival gang member or something on the street in that area, and the drive-by was trying to kill them, probably killed them, but also killed the family in the crossfire. That way, we have a hero where we can root for to be a vigilante and want to kill everyone in the gang and just destroy the business of this gang, of this cartel, and maybe she's after 2 gangs, but maybe that's too ambitious for the movie, but it would make us care about everyone who dies rather than just 5 people that 4 of them we miss out on. So, besides not having any of the revenge in this revenge movie, which makes this a failure on its own, what else didn't I like about the film? Well, our main character, our main hero, I thought she was too mentally unstable in this movie. And yes, you've had revenge movies with a guy or a girl being mentally unstable while killing our bad guys, but usually the bad guy, we get to see the bad guys that wronged that person, and we can enjoy the raw glee and just violence and brutality of this mentally unstable person killing people because they're people that wronged that person. You can still root for someone who's absolutely insane in revenge movies. The problem is we don't get to see any of that revenge, and it makes it look like she's killing a bunch of people we don't care about, and one person that is probably innocent in our eyes until like scenes later when they decide, oh yeah, he might have been corrupt. Not only that, there's a few other things that our crazy main character does that just make her too crazy and just too like, what the hell? I can't root for this character when they do this. There's this drunk father that she absolutely terrorizes, and it's not something that I can get behind our main character doing because it's... Let me tell you the sequence. So, she's on a bus, and at one moment she glances to her left and thinks she sees her daughter. This apparition of her daughter keeps appearing because she keeps remembering. No apparition of the husband, I guess, but all she cares about is the daughter. And instead it's actually a little boy, probably around the same age as her daughter would have been. And they talk, and the boy goes, yeah, my father, sometimes I have to look after him because he drinks. Now, there's no sign that the father's abusive and drunk, just drunk, and the kid just has to take care of it. That's kind of a relationship that might be in an indie drama comedy, for Christ's sake. But not only that, when the boy wakes him up and he gets up and he's like, hey, in an actual pretty polite way, he's like, what'd I tell you about talking to strangers? Don't talk to strangers, which is good advice. I wouldn't want my kid, if I had a kid, to talk to Riley North. God damn it. He also makes a comment of, where'd you get that crappy looking toy? Because it is a crappy looking toy that Riley North gives to the boy, which, was it the one that she stole from the judge's house or the one that actually was her daughter's? I forget. But it was one of those. And so, as they're getting off the bus, the father tells the boy to stay outside because he can't go into the liquor store. And so the father goes out, goes to get his drink. Next thing you know, Riley North is behind him, shoves his face against the glass, throws him to the ground, puts a gun in his face, is like, this is a wake-up call. Don't fucking drink and take care of your fucking kid. Not only that, also points the gun at the clerk that happened to be there that day. It's like, you're gonna give me you're gonna give me your car. I'm sure she gives him money, but she's like, I'm gonna take your fucking car, and then she leaves. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Why are you doing this? Who cares? Now, if the kid had bruises, or the father was very mean to the kid, then yeah. But this movie doesn't do that. It doesn't do that, and so it looks like she's just terrorizing random people. She even terrorizes this soccer mom that's really bitchy at the beginning of this movie, because there's this, not soccer mom, Girl Scout mother, because Riley North's daughter is a Girl Scout, and so is the daughter of this bitchy character, and this bitchy character's like, you can't sell cookies here. This is our area. Everyone knows this is our area. You can't sell cookies here. This is our spot. And then to get back at Riley North, because Riley North's daughter it's her birthday that day, and they're gonna have a party. Well, the bitchy mom's like, I'm inviting everyone in the school, and we're gonna have a party for my daughter. It's not her birthday, but we're gonna have a little get together, and I'm inviting the whole class. That way, Riley North's daughter doesn't get a birthday party. Yes, as a fucking bitch. Very bitchy move. However, still doesn't deserve what Riley North does to her. She punches her in the face, which is foreshadowing. Well, what happens at the beginning is foreshadowing, because the daughter goes, you should have just punched her in the face. And so the next time Riley North meets her, goes to her house after she's been stabbed, punches the girl in the face, ties her up in the chair, takes her things, takes her car, and then threatens to burn the house down while the girl's in it. And as crazy as our main character was, it didn't sound like a joke. I thought she was definitely going to do it. She doesn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cut out there, like some deleted scene where she did burn the freaking house down with the girl in it. Another thing I really hated in this movie, the dialogue for the cops. It's cop movie dialogue in its cheesiest and its worst. I cringed every time there was banter between John Gallagher Jr. and John Ortiz. Every time those two talked with each other or bantered, it was the worst. I don't think the actors had chemistry. They were fine. It's the dialogue. You can't sell that dialogue and be straight. It is horrible dialogue. Oh, fuck. Oh, another thing, it reminded me of Taken 3, which isn't good. The director of Taken didn't do the other two Taken movies, which is why I think the other two Taken movies are so much worse than the first. But when the director of Taken borrows from something from Taken 3 by completely saving our character by editing them out, fuck. Like, I remember this scene in Taken 3 where Liam Neeson is trapped in an elevator that's about to explode or drop or is on fire or something, and it doesn't look like he can get out. Jump cut, he's outside the building going to a phone booth. And I'm like, how did you escape? What happened? What the hell? There's 2 moments like that in this film. 2 freaking moments. One, there's an explosion you see in the trailer. Jennifer Garner's in that, and it's a trap. How this is set up, she sees tripwire, but she doesn't fall into it. She realizes, this is a trap, I gotta get out of here as quickly as possible. She runs, they see movement, and so they trigger the explosion. And so just as it starts to explode, she runs, slides, sees a grate, tries to pull up. It won't budge, not even a centimeter. It won't budge. She's struggling. She looks up. Explosion's coming. The building explodes. Cut to outside the building. She's coming out of a sewer grate. And I'm like, what? And again, this is something that could be very simple. If she wasn't struggling, maybe if you showed the grate actually open up, the hard cut to her escaping wouldn't be so difficult and so jarring. Hell, you can have a sweet action moment where she dives into the grate and the fire goes over her. You don't even get that in this movie. Another time, there's a point at the very end of this movie where she's surrounded with people with guns. Gets shot, and she's not that far. She's a few feet away from the closest person. They walk up to the place where she fell, and she's just gone. She has teleporting powers due to the magic of editing. I'm not gonna lie. At the very end of this movie, it made her look like she has a superpower of teleportation. Because at one point, at the end, she's handcuffed to something. She's given a key. Sorry, this is spoiler, but who fucking cares? She gets a key from someone to unlatch the handcuffs that she's in bed with. She's in the bed. It's a hospital bed. And when he leaves, she looks up. You see her in the hospital bed. Next thing you know, crazy editing where it's like flashing, almost saturation, and then unsaturation, like really quickly and really rapidly, while the camera's shaking and zooming in and out, like really rapid. Kind of like what you would see in a superhero movie just before like they teleport or something. Her body fades out of the scene, and then you see the handcuffs drop and empty. It literally looks like she teleported out of the bed. Guess she didn't need that key at all. Oh, and then there's this twist with John Gallagher Jr. His character, this twist towards the end that is completely out of left field and completely unnecessary. Because I actually started liking his character, and then some twist happens, and I'm like, what? Why? Why? That doesn't... Why? What the fuck? Oh God, there's so many things I can talk about with this movie. So many horrible things. This is one of those movies that when it comes out on DVD, I'm going to have to do a long review and just list off all the horrible stuff that is in this movie. And I can't believe people like it. I understand, because there's people that like movies that are just badass, and badass movies are just, the badassery in movies like that is enough to fulfill their dreams and their entertainment. And so, everyone else in the audience other than me and my cousin, they were cheering. They were just like bloodthirsty and just like, yeah, kill them all, that kind of thing. And it's just like, oh my God. But we weren't blinded by it. We realized just how empty this film is and how much of a non-revenge film this really is. Oh God, and then the social media stuff. Death Wish, Bruce Willis' Death Wish this year, it wasn't that good of a movie. But I would still probably give it 2 out of 5 because it's pretty meh, and there's some interesting or funny, decent scenes in it. It's still a bad movie, don't get me wrong, but it's way better than Peppermint. And Peppermint does that social media thing that friggin' Death Wish did, and Death Wish's social media, like, is she a vigilante? Is she a hero? Is she a criminal kind of thing? Just like Death Wish did that with Bruce Willis's character. As superficial, hollow as that was played off, that feels superior and more intellectual than what they do in Peppermint. Peppermint is just thrown in there. I mean, we don't even... the FBI, when they're like, Riley North has been missing for 5 years, she's been ghost, she's off the grid, and they're like, but here she is on YouTube, and it's like throw up a cage match that she's in Europe, getting her ass beat by some other person, and I'm like, what? And then just constantly cops go, well, look at what they're saying on Twitter for her. And I'm like, who's saying this? Who cares? There's no, like, videos. Like, at Death Wish, at least there's a viral video of him taking the law in his own hands. There's not even a viral video in this movie. So it's like, who is she pleasing? Who is caring about this? Who even knows about this case? What the hell? Because they don't explain anything. They're just like, here's some Twitter things. Here's some people on Facebook. Here's a YouTube video. Oh, speaking of which, we don't even get to see the training. This is one of those movies where we need the training because it's a normal person doing crazy military-esque stuff. We don't see the training. There's plenty of revenge movies out there where our main character used to be a cop or used to be part of the military. And there are ones where it's a normal person getting revenge, but if they become a badass killer, usually we get to see some training or how this person becomes better at killing people. I mean, even Bruce Willis' Death Wish did that. Peppermint, we don't get any of that, and so we get this ordinary person who 5 years is completely ghosted, completely off the grid. We don't get to see any of her training or how she gets training. All we know is that 5 years later, she's just as good as something that you would see in a modern military movie or a SWAT movie or something along those lines. Because the action in this movie is very tactical and, again, something like you'd see in a modern wartime movie, a modern espionage film, or a cop movie. A good one. It's just jarring, and there's just plenty of things that fail in this movie, making it a failure. I mean, if a revenge film doesn't even show the revenge in it, then it's already a failure, right? Ultimately, I'm going to give Peppermint 1.5 stars. It rounds up to 1.5. It's not quite a 1. I mean, there's still 11 movies out there I've seen this year that are far worse still, but this is crap. Did you see Peppermint? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment below. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie reviews or countdowns of this year, of previous years, of whatever. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.